Nitro RC nerds here, and in this video what I'm doing is getting a new engine, converting it to a pull start, and also putting on a new clutch. But before that, I do want to address one question that I get quite a bit from people, and that is they want to, where can they get a Losi 810? And so a few things. Number one, I've looked and looked and looked and looked for a new one. To my knowledge, they cannot be found, and Horizon Hobby is unaware of any place. I mean, there could be some place like in China or something where it's just sitting in some shop in the back and no one knows about it. But if you see a website that says they have a Losi 810, chances are they don't, because if you go through it, what you'll see is one of two things. Right as you get to pay, they'll go, "Oh, we don't have one, sorry," or they'll say, "Well, you know what? Go ahead and give us your money, or go ahead and pay, and then what we'll do is, if we can't find one, we'll just go ahead and refund your money." Be very, very, very wary of those sites, because there are a lot of scamming sites out there. A lot. Additionally, recently one of our viewers asked me to build him a roller, said he would pay if I built him an 810 roller. And so, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do that for a few reasons. Number one, I'm just not going to, because I want to keep all the parts that I have. Number two, I can't. Here's the reason. When I say that I have almost enough parts to build another 810, I mean, it's not an exaggeration. I can only think of one part, and I'll get to that in a second, but I really can't think of anything. In fact, I go 3 deep on a lot of parts. Of course, there's screws. I don't have the screw kit, but I've bought screws, over the years for it. But other than that, I mean, there's not a single part that I can think of that I don't have at least one backup. However, there is one part, and it's these right here, these wheel hubs. It's Losi B, or Losi B, $34.99. And the reason they're so hard to find is because when the 810 got discontinued, all the SCTE guys gobbled these up so they could convert to 17 millimeter. Without going into all the gory details, it has to do with the pin and a different size axle hole for it and things like that. So that's the only part I'm missing. But if something happens to this, am I screwed? Of course not. There's a lot of different things I can do. Here's what I would recommend, though. If someone is really hell-bent on getting an 810, look online, and you could buy a used one and just go through and fix it up. Or you could buy like a 10T or a 10 Nitro SCT, something like that. It's the same platform. You just have to make some minor differences, and you probably could get some adapters to make them 17 millimeter. So that's what I would recommend. And as far as being a roller and the engine and stuff like that, really the engine you want to run in it is this right here. I mean, people have put other engines in it, but there's a reason. I mean, this thing is light and agile and sleek, and so you try to keep the weight down. And that engine right there, I mean, it's powerful enough. So that's my recommendation. And, I think it's definitely worth doing. I may just do it myself one day. I may just buy a 10 SCT or a 10T or something, just to have the parts and build another 810. I think that'd be pretty cool to do. My son and I have already talked about it, but anyways, enjoy the video. All right, so now let's go ahead and prep the engine. This 3.4 right here is my all-time favorite engine. From the first time I started this engine up to the most recent run I gave it last week.
I like how it smoked it and went down the hill. That would have been bad.
When the 810 came out, there were all sorts of guys looking to upgrade the engine, and luckily they did a lot of the legwork for me. I put a lot of analysis, and I studied, and bottom line is I came down to the conclusion that this engine right here is, without a doubt, the best engine for the Losi 810. The 810 is pretty fast right out of the box, and if you want to make it faster, it's not the engine. There's other things you need to do to make it faster. This engine is plenty powerful. However, this one here, after, I don't know, I've got maybe 4 gallons, I'd say, through it at this point, it's showing a little bit of wear and tear. I personally think there's some kind of a leak somewhere. It's not huge, but again, I know the engine so well, I can tell when it's not at peak performance. It's either here in this pipe, I don't like the pipe that much. When this thing comes undone, it's very difficult to get back together. It could be the tank. Lord knows how many tanks I've gone through on this. Or it could be the carburetor, and that's actually its second carburetor. I have another one here that's in okay shape. There's just a small little issue here that I could fix if I ever need to. But in the end, I decided let's just go ahead and get another engine, another 3.4, as well as a new tank and a new pipe. You may notice it doesn't come with a pull start. This was actually taken off of a 10 SCT. So the first thing I need to do is convert it to a pull start with the back plate and a one-way bearing. I got the one-way bearing and the pull start on there. Well, you talk about having hands with a surgeon. I was going real slow because one thing I guarantee you, you mess this up, it's going to ruin your day. I've put together some pull starts in my time. I don't do it anymore. I just throw them in a box. It's been nothing short of fantastic. Up next, let's do something about this 2-shoe clutch. Currently running a M2C 3-shoe on this engine right here, but I thought I'd try out a Losi 3-shoe just because I've really enjoyed the Losi clutch setup that my son is running on his 8.2.0. Plus the M2C, as great as that clutch is, boy, it can be a pain sometimes to switch out. First things first is going to be taking the clutch off of here. And I remember the first time I did it on the stock engine I had, that was not fun. Alright guys, so let me just say this. In everything I've ever done to an RC car, and I've done a lot, Andrew and I have done a whole lot, getting this nut off was the toughest thing I think we have ever had to do. I fortunately had much better luck this time, came right off. They used to thread lock them. I don't know why the hell they do that. It's the one of the things that kind of frustrates me about Losi is they thread lock the hell out of everything. And again, take it for what it's worth. I have yet to thread lock any of my clutch nuts. I've never had one come off. Knock on wood, but I'm just, again, calling it like I see it. Anyways, this came off great, so let's get started. I prefer aluminum shoes, so I'm going to begin with the 3 aluminum. And so once I seat this new bell here with these aluminum ones, I've got another new bell that I'll seat with these composite ones. At that point then I'll begin probably mixing and matching, just depending on what I like. And obviously I want to ensure that I have even wear because, as you know, aluminum wears faster. And typically when I replace all of them at once. I'm also going to start out with 3 of these green springs. I'm starting out with the silver springs, which are the stiffest, so I'll get the most punch. Of course I'll tune it from there, but this right here was without a doubt the easiest clutch I'd ever put on.